welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 10-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Excited to get into the breakdown. Hope you guys get back in the green tonight. Before I do, quick reminder, don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. Nailed it again last night going with Aaron Judge. I had said, not a huge hot take, but I thought it was just way too good of a spot to avoid. First at bat, he came up hit a home run, so hopefully you've got some Aaron Judge in your lineup. So looking forward to giving you guys another pick at the end of this video, and a quick reminder as well that if you are interested in some premium content, I do offer that. It's linked below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use when building my own DFS lineups. I have MLB DFS content and NFL DFS content. If you haven't seen my NFL DFS content and you are playing NFL DFS, I would highly recommend it. Go over to the channel, check out my first look video I posted earlier this week. If you could leave a like on that video, that would be greatly appreciated. The YouTube algorithm isn't even acknowledging that I'm making NFL content. So if you're really enjoying this content, you want to check that out, hit that like button, leave a comment of your favorite play, etc. That would mean a lot to me. And I am making some major improvements to that package this week. I'm really getting excited about it. I'm really excited to use these tools, and I really think it's going to benefit you guys. And if nothing else, I'm really excited to be using them myself. So I'm going to keep working really hard on those. Those will be out this week on the NFL package as well. And I have been receiving some questions on the Patreon package. If you currently are an MLB DFS Patreon member and you want to switch over to the NFL package maybe towards the end of the month, third week or something, there's no charge to do that. You can just swap packages, reach out to me. And as long as you continue to pay your Patreon monthly fee, it's the same price tag for both packages, you'll be good to go. So just a few announcements I had to get out of the way there. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. As always, let's go ahead and sort my sheet by K-rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy on the slate today is going to be Jose Quintana taking on the San Diego Padres. But with that being said, he's expected to be a long reliever. They're going to have Leon open this one. So just keep in mind he's not going to be out there from the get-go. When you're looking at his most recent performances, he's been really only around like 40 pitches. So while he leads the slate in K-rate, this is a time where we can kind of ignore that factor and go on to the next guy. So a quick little disclaimer there as far as my sheets are concerned today. Joe Musgrove at the second spot is going to be the top guy with a 27.6% K overall, 13% swinging strike rate, 28.5% K rate against righties, and a 26.7% K rate against lefties. The problem is he does not get the best matchup today, taking on a San Francisco Giants team that has been absolutely slugging all season long and is a bit of a tough matchup. On the bright side, though, it's in San Francisco, and pulling up the diagram as far as San Francisco is concerned, it's one of the best, if not the best, pitching environments in baseball. And I love targeting pitchers here. It's right across the field as far as home runs. It's going to be great pitching weather. It's only 59 degrees. And, everything kind of matches up for Musgrove outside of the fact the Giants lineup is pretty solid all around. But other than that, I think he's definitely a great play. It's just a matter of whether we're really paying up at 9.4 for him on FanDuel and all the way up to 9.5 on DraftKings. Well, we might have some other guys we can talk about that might be in a little bit of friendlier of the matchups. But, when you look at this guy, last time he took on the Dodgers, it's one of the worst matchups you could have. He had 7 strikeouts, 106 pitches, 6 innings pitched, and 3 earned runs. That's a pretty solid performance against a very difficult team to pitch against. So, Musgrove's the real deal. Tyler Magle taking on the St. Louis Cardinals is a guy that's been very dominant against right-handed hitting, but has been very terrible against left-handed hitting, and that might be a great thing for him today, taking on the St. Louis Cardinals team, because they are a pretty right-handed heavy team, which might boost his prospects for being a pretty decent play today. They only have a 3.64 implied run total, and it's in Citi Field in New York, which is a great pitching environment as well. The only problem is it's 80 degrees with 14-mile-an-hour winds blowing out the left. That's obviously less than ideal. That's great hitting weather. But the ballpark dimensions do play very friendly to pitchers. And as mentioned, the Cardinals do have a very right-handed heavy lineup. Only expected to have 2 lefties in there in Dylan Carlson and Tommy Edman. And, Magle's just been absolutely dominant against righties and has been pretty bad, pretty awful against lefties. So that's kind of been the tail of this tape with him, and he gets a great matchup today. So I definitely think that he's viable. Huascar taking on the Colorado Rockies. Of course, this game isn't in Coors Field, so that's going to definitely boost his prospects as far as the ability to play him. He has a 27% K overall, a 26.1% K rate against righties, and a 28.2% K rate against lefties. Has been pretty solid across the board, and I do always like targeting Colorado Rockies when they're outside of Coors Field. When they're on the road, that's when you really want to target them. They're in Atlanta tonight. I do think that he's going to be a pretty good play here at 8.4 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced to 8.9. We're looking at his legion as far as how long he's gone. The only thing I don't really like is he's been capped right around 90 pitches, 93, 96, 91, 89. When you're looking at the K rate, has been really good. The last 2 games, 5 strikeouts and 7 strikeouts, and one of those games being against the same Colorado team where he allowed 4 earned runs, but that was in Colorado. 5.2 innings pitched, Now he doesn't have to worry about the friendly hitting and weather confines of Colorado, and he gets to take on the opponent that really struggles on the road. So definitely like him. Julio Urias taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're a team that doesn't really scare us at all. He's a 26.7% K overall. Good hard contact stuff. A 343 slugging given up to righties. A 405 slugging given up to lefties with a 25.2% carry to righties and a 31% carry to lefties. Do prefer to target him against those lefties, of course, if at all possible. Left-hander hurler himself that does excel at striking out those lefties. But when you're looking at this lineup up and down as far as the Arizona Diamondbacks, it's really not good. There are a couple of lefties in there, and I don't expect that they're going to have a very high implied run total when these Vegas lines drop. So if you want to go to Julio Urias, I wouldn't call you crazy. He's 10-3 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's 10-5. Really, the only issue is the K upside with him, but the last 3 times out, he's had 7, 8, and 7 Ks. So he's really ramping up the strikeout stuff, and that's been against Atlanta, San Francisco, and San Diego, none of which are pushover opponents. So keep that in mind. I mean, we might be seeing an uptick in his K rate here. Maybe a trend that you could be taking advantage of. Sean Manaea taking on the Kansas City Royals is a spot that I don't hate at all. He's only expected... I'm sorry, the Kansas City Royals only have a 4.13 implied run total. So, of course, that's going to make us feel better about the situation. He's 9-2 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's 9-8. He's been pitching pretty well as of late as well. Very effective the last 2 times out. 9 strikeouts, 101 pitches to 86 pitches. And that has been against 2 very good opponents in the Chicago White Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. And he's managed to go 7 innings in both of them. So that's obviously going to make us feel pretty good about him going forward. Like I said, pretty good matchup for sure. Nestor Cortes taking on the Baltimore Orioles, one of the best matchups you could ask for. And then Ranger Suarez at the same situation, taking on the Chicago Cubbies. So both of these guys are definitely going to be in play. Cortes with a 25.8% carry overall, with a 24.9% carry to righties, and a 28.6% carry to lefties. Really, his only issue has been pitch count throughout the season. He's 7-7 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 7-9. And if you're looking at his pitch count as of late, he has been given a longer leash. He's been 104, 95, 84, 103 after only seeing, 35, 60 pitches or so to start the season out. So definitely a guy that's improving as a starter. Definitely a guy that I'm going to have interested in this particular matchup. The last time he took on this Orioles team, he had 7 strikeouts through 5.2 innings pitched, only 1 earned run over 5.2 innings pitched. I already said that, sorry, but you get the gist. It's a great matchup. He's in a great spot, and the same can be said for Ranger Suarez, who has been pretty good with a 25% K overall. Great ground ball, fly ball stuff. A 22.3% K rate to righties and a 31% K rate to lefties. And the Chicago Cubs are really a team that's watered down now. Suarez expected to be a 193 favorite. He's 8-8 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 7-2. So friendly price tag on DraftKings. He's been right up around 95 pitches per game when he's pitching good. 6 strikeouts last time, 1 earned run, 6 innings pitching against Colorado. And once again, he gets a great matchup here, taking on a Cubs team that is pretty K-heavy. So, I mean, we just listed off quite a few options, but this slate's kind of loaded with pitching, and I definitely think you could be going to all those guys as mentioned. And then as far as anyone else that I'm looking to, John Means taking on the New York Yankees. I mean, they just have a really high strikeout rate, so if he's able to really be dialed in, of course, the Yankees could get to him and blow him up, but also he could have a pretty effective game here. As far as strikeouts are concerned, he's priced all the way down to 6.5 on DraftKings. He's been right around 90 pitches a game. Last 3 times out, 5 Ks a game, 2 earned runs a game, 6.15 innings pitched and 7 innings pitched. One of those games being against the Yankees where he did go 5 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts. So he's been pretty solid, especially at that price tag over on DraftKings. That's a very friendly price tag. 6.5 compared to 8.4 on FanDuel. I definitely think you could be looking to John Means on DraftKings for sure. And yeah, that's pretty much, my top pitchers as far as Jose Urquidy taking on the Texas Rangers. He's a guy that I wouldn't leave off the list because the Rangers have a terrible lineup as well. 21.4% K overall, 20% K rate to righties, and a 23.7% K rate to lefties. And then when you're looking at the implied Vegas totals, as far as what Texas is expected to do, only a 3.62 implied run total. Their offense just is not good, and for that reason, Urquidy over here has been... Problem is his pitch count. He's been right around 70 pitches. So that's where I don't know if I'm really willing to pay for him. I think we have talked about plenty of other options that we don't have to worry about that pitch count issue. So viable, but not really sure I'm not going to go there. And with that being said, let's go ahead and switch over to bats. As always, let's go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra, skill, and active ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far on the season and how good they're expected to be in the future. And the worst pitcher on the slate today is going to be John Lester. Taking on the New York Mets, he has been terrible across the board against right-handed hitting with a 5.10 slugging, giving up ground ball, fly ball stuff has been bad, only a 13.1% K rate. That's not going to get the job done. And as a matter of fact, there's a guy with only a 3.2 innings pitch sample size that's making him look even better than he is in Jansen Jump. So we're going to go ahead and make it clear that Lester's been bad. Only a 5.10 slugging. Comparing that to the league, it's not good. Against lefties, he has been much more effective. But, yeah, I mean, Lester's just a guy you want to target with right-handed power. It's really that simple. You're looking at the New York Mets. They do have that 14-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to the left. I had mentioned the Mets Stadium. It's really not a friendly hitting confine, and that's true. But when you have 14-mile-an-hour winds, that is very relevant. So I think these righties could be great plays today. Jonathan Villar, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Javi Baez, Kevin Pillar, James McCann. I mean, my favorite plays would definitely be Pete Alonso and Javi Baez in the 4 and 5 spots. And I definitely think you can stack up the New York Mets tonight. Moving further along, Kohei Arihara taking on the Houston Astros. He's been a guy that's really struggled in his transition to the majors. Has been terrible with a 42.9% hard contact, giving up a 671 slugging to righties. That is not good. And then when you're looking at his slugging to lefties, it's a 435 slugging, ground ball, fly ball stuff, only 11% K rate. I mean, a guy that was very successful until transitioning over to the majors, and a guy that I'm going to feel very confident in targeting with Houston Astros bats tonight in Texas. Great hitting environment, green across the board as far as the Texas ballpark is concerned when we're pulling up the diagram here for Globe Life Field. Green, 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 green. Love targeting hitters here. And that's not going to change tonight, especially with the talent of this Houston Astros lineup. I'm willing to play them 1 through 9. My favorite plays being 1 through 7. 8 and 9 spot more of salary relief. But got to love the spot for Houston. And, yeah, I mean, it just doesn't get much better than this. So got to love the Houston stack. Griffin Jax taking on Cleveland. He's been a little bit of a hit-or-miss result all season long, but when you're looking at the underlying metrics, he's been terrible. Hard contact stuff's bad. Fly ball stuff's bad. A 552 slugging given up to righties. A 523 slugging given up to lefties. All I see is bad on my sheet. I don't see one area of success really outside. If I had to pick one area of success, it would be his walk rate against righties, and that's still pretty bad. So the Cleveland Indians definitely going to be a viable stack tonight when you're looking at their lineup up and down. It's in Minnesota. Well, that's an ideal hitting environment, but it's not the worst in the world, and the Minnesota bullpen has been terrible as well. We're looking at Griffin Jax's most recent performances. As far as how he's been faring as of late, we can see 4 earned runs, 6 earned runs, 9 earned runs after a streak of only giving up 1 earned run for about 5 games. He's back to displaying some of his underlying metrics. He's been really bad. So, Miles Straw, Alman Rosario, Jose Ramirez, Framil Reyes, 3 and 4 spots, going to be great hitters tonight. Bobby Bradley, great hitter. Harold Ramirez, Bradley Zimmer, Roberto Perez, Andres Jimenez. Willing to stack them up 1 through 9. As mentioned, the Minnesota bullpen is terrible as well. So, love the spot for Cleveland. Dallas Keuchel taking on the Angels has been pretty bad, but his ground ball, fly ball stuff is still pretty decent. Honestly, he's been pretty bad lefty on lefty. Righty still has a pretty decent ground ball, fly ball rate. I think that a great contrarian play could be Shohei Ohtani tonight in this spot. I'm not worried about him being able to hit Keuchel at all. I think he could be in a great spot, and that'd be probably the only one guy I'd be looking into and getting too excited in the Angels lineup tonight. There's a few other options that match lefties. Kurt Suzuki, Jack Mayfield, Joe Adele, but I'm not getting as excited as playing Ohtani, of course. Ohtani, you have to pay up for him, but maybe you get about lower ownership than you typically would lefty on lefty, and I think for that reason, he could be a great play. Alec Mills taking on the Philadelphia Phillies tonight is a guy that's really struggled against left-handed hitting his whole career, and this year's been no different. A 500 slugging, given up with a 381 WOBA, 16.4% K rate against those lefties. Really like targeting him with left-handed bats, so that's going to automatically bump up Mr. Bryce Harper to one of the top hitters on my list tonight. In Philadelphia, great hitting environment. Pulling up the diagram for Philadelphia, you can see, let's see, across the board, in Citizens Bank Park, plays great, especially the left-handed hitting down the right field line. I mean, just plays fantastic with his lefties, so everything lines up here. 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, 83 degrees, great stuff. Odubel Herrera, Bryce Harper, Brad Miller, Didi Gregorius, Freddie Galvis, any lefty that cracks this lineup, I will have interest in playing against Alec Mills, so keep that in mind. Merrill Kelly is a guy that's been terrible for quite some time now. Hard contact stuff hasn't been bad. He against lefties this year, I should say. He's taken some big steps forward this year, actually, surprisingly, but he's still giving him a 496 slugging to righties. I'm still willing to target him, and specifically with right-handed hitting is where he's really struggled this year, so I'm not getting scared. If he's going to be the one taking a bump, there's conflicting reports. It could be Madison Bumgarner. As I always say, I usually use DraftKings probable pitchers. They've been pretty on point all season long. Occasionally they'll be wrong, but so I'm gonna expect that it's Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly really bad against righties, more so good against lefties. It's the same story for Bumgarner, honestly. So the righties are going to be the ones I'm going to. Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Will Smith. And you can, of course, put the lefties in your lineup to round out your stacks in Max Muncy, Corey Seager, great hitters. Bellinger's been absolutely terrible this year, but if you want to get him at some lower ownership, and then you got Gavin Lux at the bottom of the order, definitely like the Dodgers stack. And then as we continue to move along here, I mean, there's a bunch of pitchers in this range that are really struggling more so against right-handed hitting. We can kind of group them together here. Urquidy, Minor, Means are the first three. So Texas, Oakland, and the Yankees righties are really ones I'd be looking to. All more effective against lefties for the most part. Ground ball fly was not the greatest, but the slugging and the hard contact rate, they've all been much better. Texas, Oakland, New York Yankees. I mean, if I had to pick the ones I'm getting most excited about, it probably would be Oakland and the New York Yankees. Texas just has a terrible lineup, so I'm not getting too excited. Dolis Garcia, Nick Solak, DJ Peters would be my top three there. And then as far as the Athletics, Josh Harrison, Starling Marte, Matt Chapman, Yan Gomes, Mark Canha, Chris Davis, Chad Pinder, much more to work with there against Mike Minor. They have a lineup that's designed to hit left-handed pitching very well. I like all those guys. And then as far as the Yankees are concerned, definitely like the lefties for upside. John Means could have a good performance as mentioned, but Gigi LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Luke Voit, Gary Sanchez, Gleyber Torres, Gio Urshela would be the ones I'm looking to. Far less interested in lefty on lefty, but as always, include them in your stacks, get them lower owned, and then when the Baltimore Orioles bullpen comes in, which is terrible, you're looking pretty good. So, no issues with going to the Yankee stack. And then my last guy that I definitely, I already mentioned Magel struggles against lefties, so the St. Louis lefties you can definitely be playing. There's only going to be two in the lineup, but they're both going to be great plays. And then Nestor Cortez take on the Baltimore Orioles. You could target him with right-handed power. He hasn't been that bad in the hard contact category, though, so I'm not getting that excited. But if it's Quintana opening up against the Padres, he's been very, very bad against right-handed hitting, and I definitely would have interest in the San Diego Padres right-handed power bats. And I'm sorry, he's expected to be the long reliever, not the opener, so great. If it's Scott Kazmir, they're listed, that's great as well. 12-mile winds blowing out, 91% humidity. Not the best setting weather as far as temperature. It's only 59 degrees, but Tatis, Machado, Pham, Will Myers, Jerks, and Profar. I could get all those guys at lower ownership on the West Coast in the late game in a not-unfriendly hitter ballpark, as mentioned. Guys like Tatis and Machado can hit the ballpark out of any ballpark against left-handed pitching. So definitely could be looking to them. And that is my overall breakdown of this one tonight. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Alex Bregman taking on Kohei Arihara. I had mentioned his hard contact issues across the board has been very bad with a 671 slugging given up to righties, a 47.7% hard contact rate, 426 WOBA, and only a 17% K rate. Terrible across the board. I'd expect this Astros offense to absolutely go off tonight. And then when you're breaking down the individual pitches as far as his repertoire is concerned, really reliant on the fastball slider combination to right-handed hitting. Goes to the fastball about 31% of the time, the slider 23% of the time, and Bregman crushes both of those pitches. The fastball on average about a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and Bregman features a 625 ISO with a 598 WOBA. And as far as the slider, that's not an issue either because Bregman features a 219 ISO with a 319 WOBA. Love this spot for Alex Bregman. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Kohei Arihara taking on the Houston Astros. Really like that stack in Alex Bregman tonight, so get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. That way you don't miss any further content that I upload. And then don't forget to check out my NFL DFS premium package and my NFL content. As mentioned, just released a lot of upgrades going on to that this week. So excited. Get it at the discount while you can. I think it's going to provide you with some great value and get you in profitable very quickly. So that's all for me. Wish you the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.